Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Spark Faith podcast. My name is Dr. Chris Sargent. We have conversations that mash up faith and messy life and messy health and messy parenting and all of those fun things, and admit at the same time that we don't have it all figured out. Today, I am going to finish my third in a series of helping you understand who I am and where I come from and being authentic about my messy. And today I'm going to talk about not good enough, not enough, imposter syndrome, and all of the things that really plagued me for a very, very long time. And, they say that the overnight sensation started 10 years ago. Well, I really believe that transformation that looks like it happened all of a sudden also started many years ago. And my first introduction into armoring up and not being vulnerable was probably close to 10 years ago when I first heard Brené Brown talk about vulnerability. And I always thought that I was pretty authentic and that I put it out there. And what I've realized over time, and particularly over the last 2 years, and I'm going to talk about the big shift over the last couple of years, is that I really didn't. And that even though I was working on being more authentic, I actually was just armoring up more and putting on a thicker, bigger mask. And so what does that mean? When we really don't think that we're good enough and not enough, we're always out to prove ourselves, whether that's through always having to be right, or being a perfectionist, or overworking, like being a workaholic, or having to do it all ourselves without asking for help, because asking for help makes us feel incompetent or stupid in some way. I'm sure that you can add a bunch of comments to this, because I'd love to hear what other things that happen in your head as you are working for other people's opinions, right? Really concerned. Oh, what are they going to think? What is the masses? What are they going to think? What are my friends going to think? What are my family going to think? Like, all of those things cause us to make decisions about keeping our ego actually in charge, right? A lot of that is just made out of fear of what other people's opinions are, or that we think that we're not good enough. And that means that we're really looking for external validation, right? And Americans are great at external validation, right? We love our cars and our houses and our boats and our stuff, right? All of our stuff. We love all of that, right? Our jewelry, our clothing, all of the things, right? Our little AirPods, our iPhones, if you're an iPhone user, whatever your things are, right? Your Mac, whatever your things are. We all have our things that define us in a way, right? Or lend to the definition of who we are. Even our jobs, our children, our families, our communities, all of those things can start to define us. Or particularly if you're an entrepreneur and you've grown a company like I did from nothing. I mentioned in my last podcast that we were over $1 million for a few years. That was a really big definition for who I am, and for what I was. Really not who I am now, but what I was and who I was at that time. And so when we also start making those decisions, we don't always make choices out of what's good for us, because we're trying to please everybody else. And I don't like to use the word try a lot. We're attempting to please everyone and fill some of that I'm not good enough void by proving all the time, look at this here, I did this, or I did that, or whatever. And that can end up at the end of the day, you still feeling empty. And that's where I was a lot of the time. And I had done that striving instead of thriving or driving and it's not just kind of in the survival mode for a very, very long time. And when you do that, we smash our emotions. It really, really impedes our emotional flow. Because if something doesn't work out exactly, then we have to either deal with the emotions of failure or smash them down, right? Or if we get angry and we're not supposed to get angry, then we smash that down. If when all the time that we're doing this, right? This is all smashing in our own self-worth and our own self-esteem, and it just becomes this very, very vicious circle of trying to do more and ending up feeling worse about it all the time. And I see this a lot, and you're going to be completely familiar with this because I certainly am. When we say, okay, it's Monday, we're going to start our diet and we're going to be great. And by noon, we've already had a donut and, forget it. We're just going to say, screw it. And that's the end of that, right? And yet, when we do that, it makes us feel worse. And our egos always get to be right. See, I told you, you're not good enough. You're not enough. You're terrible at this. Whatever that self-talk is, you are going to always work to prove that correct, right? That makes you a genius about yourself, right? And so that self-sabotage is the first clue for you to know that you're in this vicious cycle of trying to prove it, not good enough, not enough, whatever those things are, right? That self-sabotage needs to be a clue to you that you can shift this whole masking piece. You really can. Is it a challenge? You bet. It can be challenging. It can be difficult if you want it to be. I'm here to tell you, though, that putting up this mask is more exhausting than coming clean and just living it out loud and just being who you are and who God made you to be in your imperfection and in your quirkiness and in whoever it is that you were made to be. So the mask is exhausting. It impedes your emotions. It hinders your health, right? Because smashing emotions, we know that emotional stuff that builds up in us can explode on the inside as illnesses. We also know that self-sabotage around what we eat, our food choices and our health choices, not exercising, not going to the gym, all those kind of pieces is also, right? That self-sabotage, that also hinders your health. And it chokes your connection with God or the universe or your beliefs. But my belief is God, right? I believe that I cannot hear the Holy Spirit. I cannot connect with God if I am all caught up in what people think, in keeping my mask on, because I'm putting so much energy into that. There's no way I have time for that other connection. It's like having one bar on your cell phone. There's no bandwidth there for that, right? There's also no bandwidth for feeling. And so our feeling becomes very numb. Dan Gibbons, one of my wonderful, amazing mentors in this life, says, we all have a huge bandwidth for feeling things. And as life happens and we stop feeling, we choose to stop feeling, our bandwidth gets very, very shallow. Very, very shallow. And when we have that very shallow bandwidth, we become pretty numb and we wonder where the joy is in our life. And all of this stuff is wrapped up in keeping that mask on and making sure that you're always right? That whatever you do, you're proving yourself right. Whether you believe you're a terrible person or not enough, you're going to prove yourself right. It goes back to what Henry Ford said, if you can or if you can't, whichever you believe is true. And that's exactly how we work. So a couple years ago, I'm going to start back a couple years ago, my daughter and I were fighting one day, and in no uncertain terms and with plenty of expletives, she told me in the middle of a fight, "Mom, sad and disappointed are normal human emotions," because I was not allowing her to feel those emotions. I ran a program for a very long time that nobody wanted to hear my complaining. This was, this is stuff that my mom told me. So we have to look back at that stuff, right? My mom said, nobody wants to hear your complaining. You just need to suck it up. Oh, you broke up with your boyfriend a couple weeks ago? That's long enough to grieve. You need to stop feeling like that and you need to just move on with your life. Just get distracted and just, right? And so distracted and working and workaholicism became my outlet for emotions, right? That was my outlet. And so as I become a parent, right? Those are the same things that I'm going to pass down to my daughter, and that's what was happening in this particular moment. She was feeling not so good about herself and about her life and some choices that she had made, and I was not allowing her to have the emotions that she was having. And when she said to me, Mom, this is normal. You're a doctor. You should know this, that sad and disappointed are normal human emotions. I whew, right? Like that was an arrow. I had to take that in, and I stopped. The conversation pretty much ended with tears streaming down my face. And I knew that I had to figure this out. And that's what I said to her. I said, I have to figure this out. And, as God would have it, a couple days later, and I may have told the story partially in my last one, but Ken Kutchman came alongside of me and said, hey, you need to go to Sai seminars. And I'm not here to speak for Sai. I'm here because of Sai and the work that I've done, and because of God and God's work through Sai. I'm here to help you now because I'm on the other side of it. I can help you through a lot more. However, when I went through the levels of depth over the last couple of years, I was able to see myself. And when you have really honest feedback and you're willing to do the work in your programs and see those programs playing out through your mouth and in your day-to-day, and when your daughter looks at you and goes, Mom, there's that sad and disappointed thing again. You're not letting me feel it, and you start feeling sad and disappointed, and now your range of emotions improves. You start to realize that there's more to life than the things that you were using to put your mask on with. And so so instead of looking outside for things, I was able, through the work that I've been doing over the last 2 years, right? This doesn't happen in one magic session with anybody. Through the last couple of years, I was really able to get to the root of my imposter syndrome, and the root of I'm not good enough, and the root of I can't do enough, I'm not able to do enough, and slow down and really listen, and start opening up those pieces of my heart that I had shut down for so long. And the beautiful thing is, there was 2 quotes that really shifted me. I'm going to look those up right now. The 2 quotes that really shifted what was happening after Callan and after a lot of feedback and StrengthsFinder and Enneagram. I mean, I looked everywhere so that I could find little pieces of myself, right? So there was 2 quotes. One was from Beth Moore's new book about the vine. And it says, the weight of an unchecked human ego becomes a heavier load to bear than the cross. And so when you allow your ego, which is what that mask really is, it's your ego. When you allow your ego to run your life unchecked, it becomes like a lie that you're telling everybody on the outside. And like one little lie you got to remember, and like the next little lie you got to remember, the next little lie you got to remember. So all of those things start to build up, and you have to work harder and harder and harder to keep that mask on. And so the weight becomes very heavy to own, and it's exhausting. And when you feel exhausted all the time, that's maybe part of what's causing your fatigue, is the exhaustion of what you have committed yourself to look like on the outside. And then the next thing that popped up was a book called Ready to Rise by Joe Saxton. And she has a quote in there, and I'm going to say it as if she was talking to me. I cannot present or perform my way out of brokenness, no matter how hard I try. And so the way that that applies to you is you cannot present or perform your way out of brokenness, no matter how hard you try. And so all of the mask building and all of the exterior things, like, that's never going to bring me out of broken. I know what brings me out of broken. And I discovered not too long ago in a different book that I was reading, like, when we can open up all of our messy parts, all of those icky parts, like, oh no, I'm going to get all my ducks in line and then I'm going to, oh no, God wants to see your messy ducks. So when we can bring all of our mess, whatever that is, and we open it up to God, he can start filling those holes, because we're looking for love somewhere, right? We're looking for acceptance. We're looking for we're looking for love and acceptance, that we are good enough, that we were made for something. And when we start bringing all of our messes, God can just take those things, like drilling in like a dentist, right? He can take that thing and just take it out. Yes, you are good enough. Here's my love. And fill that hole. Yes, you know what? Don't need to be a workaholic. You can just have my love and exude that. I can't get enough done, or I can never do enough, right? Oh, yes, you can. I'm here to help you. Oh, I feel stupid if I ask for help. Oh no, I'm already here helping you. I'm already running this universe. And so when we allow God into all of those holes, all of a sudden we really are good enough. And the big transformation that happened for me is what I realized, that I am amazing because of God. I am put on this planet and I am perfect in his sight because Jesus is standing right there. Right? I am perfect to God, and I can do his perfect will and his perfect purpose because Jesus is standing here making all of that okay and helping me, and the Holy Spirit drives me because I've slowed down enough to hear what the universe is telling me, instead of spending time busy, distracted, not really doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, because I'm not wanting to feel all those things. So I'm learning. I'm still in it, right? I'm 2 years into this adventure and have had some amazing breakthroughs. And I've been in a place where I absolutely melted down in front of 30 people on a Zoom. And my laptop was just about closed, because I have a program, right? My program is, when I'm not right, I walk away. Actually, I run away and slam the door. How many of you do that? And I was just about to slam the door on my laptop when I realized that these people were giving me feedback of, I love you, Chris. You need to see this about yourself. And when I let those people in, it was like the mask really started to crumble. And so allowing them to see my brokenness and allowing God to see my brokenness is really allowing God to fill all of that brokenness and putting all those pieces back together again. So I would love to share more, and I will share more over this next time, all this next time. And my next adventure with this podcast is going to be some amazing interviews with some amazing women, mostly. And we're going to explore their mask. We're going to explore where they don't have it all together. We're going to explore their faith and how their faith and health weave together, and how this whole self-sabotage thing, when we are reaching for that cookie, we just need to open that hole up. And we think that that cookie is going to fill us, or that bag of chips. And really, it's at that moment that if we can go, oh, here's the messy, and we can pray through that and feel it. 90 seconds, right? We can feel all the way through our body and allow God to take that from us. Then we don't need our cookies. We don't need our bags of chips. We can choose them. when we want them, but they don't have to rule us, right? We can allow the bigger God to take over and in those moments. And so the conversations that are coming are going to be fun, and they're going to be funny, and they're going to be honest and authentic, and we are going to have some seriously great conversation. And I'm going to, I'll be opening up more, because it's way more fun to open up with somebody else, like having a girlfriend and a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, right? Than for me to just sit here, like I told you in the beginning, right? Like in my office by myself, talking to the camera, not near as fun. So I look forward to sharing with you more, and I hope I will see you soon. I don't even hope it, I know it. You're going to be right here. I will see you soon. Looking forward to it. Take care. Have a great day, the rest of it. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And if you're loving on my podcast, then go ahead and like and subscribe and hit the notifications and the bells and whistles on your phone so that you know when I'm around. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook all the time. If you are interested in working with me, I offer a free explore call. It's 30 minutes. And if there's places in your health that seem stuck, or you're looking for different answers, if there's places in your faith or other parts of your mental and emotional life that just don't seem like they're getting ahead, if you're unhappy in some places of your world, let's see how we can work together. And that's what this explore call will do. I'm here to help you figure out how to make your best self and how to mash up again, like creating better health and faith and life and work and getting it all put together, even though we still don't have it all figured out, right? So I'd love to hear from you. The link to my schedule is right below. You can always find it on my website, Restore You, RESTORYOU. That's RESTORYOU, restoreyou.com. Talk to you soon. Take care.